Hey folks, thanks for tuning in to the Public Land Alphabet. In the prior videos we talked about USFS, the United States Forest Service, and BLM, the Bureau of Land Management. In this one, we're going to talk about a program that affects both of those agencies. You've probably heard a lot about LWCF. What's LWCF? Land and Water Conservation Fund. And the reason you've heard a lot about it is it's set to expire on September 30th, 2018 if Congress doesn't take action. Well, here's a little history to what LWCF is, how it's funded, and how it benefits you. The Land and Water Conservation Fund was established in 1964. I'm the same age as LWCF. I was born in 1964, the same year that LWCF came into existence. And here's how it works. As part of the deal at that time, there was a lot of controversy surrounding offshore oil and gas drilling. And there was concerns about environmental concerns, about view sheds, about water quality. And so the idea was, hey, this activity is having some impact on one public resource. Let's take royalties from that activity and use them to improve public resources in other places. And here's how they did it. The LWCF legislation authorized $900 million a year to be taken out of the pool of offshore oil and gas royalties and brought into another account to be appropriated back to states and federal agencies for the use of improving public lands and water, i.e. conservation fund. Because what happens is when the money comes to the account, there's two sides to it, federal side and state side. The state side part of the formula is allocated based on population. So if your state is 5% of the total U.S. population, your state is going to get 5% of the amount of money allocated to the state side part of the formula. What is called the federal side of the formula is appropriated based on a ranking system of projects. It can happen anywhere. And Congress decides which of those projects will be approved and for which appropriated funding will be given. Where I'm standing right here, what you see behind me, all of this land was at risk of no longer being accessible to the public because of a checkerboard ownership pattern. In other words, to get to some of this, you would have had to cross private, and there were no easements. So in 1992, 93, 97, and 98, LWCF, that money was used to acquire those small in-holdings, and now hundreds of thousands of acres are open to the public. Without LWCF, the opportunity to keep these lands open would have been a lot less. And we see this in many, many instances where LWCF money is used. There are some people in Congress who do not like LWCF because they don't like public lands. So, the $900 million that has been authorized by Congress, only on a couple occasions has that full $900 million been brought into the LWCF funding mechanisms. In most years, Congress diverts a bunch of that money for other purposes. When the Land and Water Conservation Fund was passed in 1964, it had a sunset date of 2015. Well, in 2015, it was going to sunset and we're going to lose it. So Congress passed a temporary extension that expires September 30th, 2018. If we lose the Land and Water Conservation Fund, we are going to lose the most critical piece of funding for conservation efforts for access of any program that exists in America. I can't overemphasize how important it is that you call your congressperson, that you call your senator, and you tell them, get to work. Ask them to do two things. Ask them to reauthorize the Land and Water Conservation Fund in perpetuity. Don't put a sunset on it. And secondly, ask them to fully fund it and quit diverting the money to other causes. There's a reason why this was set up. It was a compromise from all sides. It was jointly and bipartisanly passed. Imagine that. A bipartisan piece of legislation that helps public lands, public access, helps bike trails, city parks, whatever it might be. How cool would that be to have that reauthorized in perpetuity and fully funded? That's your job for today. Right down here is the Capitol switchboard phone number. Call that number, tell them where you live. They will leave a message for your congressperson and for your senators and tell them, I want LWCF permanently reauthorized and I want it fully funded. And come out here and enjoy your public lands.